Okay, at this point, we have now created or read through the op order, digested the information that is needed for us to complete our products. We have all of our battalion overlays have been traced, and we have them ready to place on the map. So if you're going, where do you begin, right? That's the question you're probably asking yourself is, what do I do first? So the first thing that is the easiest is transferring all of the information that you're given to from battalion to each one of your individual documents. The easiest one of those, which is very simple, is you're going to take the target list worksheet that was given to you in this operations order, and you're going to transfer everything. So making your company. So every line will be exactly the same. The only thing that changes is you are now the creator and what unit you are from. In this case, we are Alpha. So you would build this as Alpha. Lines 1 through 4, verbatim, change nothing, record everything. At that point, you have transferred all of the information from battalion at their target list worksheet to your company target list worksheet. We will still need to add our company targets once we create them, but there's several steps before we get to there. So once you've copied everything from the battalion target list worksheet, must be handwritten, cannot make a photocopy. Again, handwritten. You can put this document to the side, and we are going to move on to creating your FSEM. Okay, so to create your FSEM, where do we start? Okay, that's the part that you need to pay attention to is what goes into this. All right, so inside of this, we're going to start at the top and just work our way down. So the operation is first look. I'm writing in pencil, so that way if I make a mistake, I can stop and correct it. All right, the date today, you would just use the correct date time group for when you're working on this fire support execution matrix. And then your name, okay? My name is Mr. Waite, so I'm going to record that on the name portion. All right, so that's your administrative data. Everything up top is now complete. Everyone always wants to jump straight to the FSEMs, but the phases are the next portion of this. So if we go back to our operations order, we refer to our battalion FSEM. We're simply going to take the phases that are listed on the battalion FSEM and transfer those to our FSEM. So phase 1, PH for phase 1 is the defensive prep. Phase 2, screen, EA leg. Phase 3 is destruction. Phase 4, consolidation. And for operation first look, there is no phase 5. So we can just put an X through that last row. Notice that each one of these I use Roman numerals, okay? This mirrors what you see in the operations order, and you will use Roman numerals to label each one of the phases. Once I've completed the recording the phases at the top of this document, I can now look at my FSEMs. So for this FSEM, I'm just going to make a note here. Nothing is wrote here. Okay, you will not record any information under the words FSEM. FSEMs go by phase, so we're going to record those by phase. Now for this, the easiest place to get them is go again back to your battalion FSEM. You find the FSEM section, which we've highlighted, and then verbatim, all of these FSEMs that are in this section are going to get transferred over to your FSEM. So notice that where they're recorded and where the line runs to for each one of these, and which one is active or on order for each of the phases. So at this time, I'm going to record all of the the FSEMs. Protractor to make my straight edge. Draw my line touching the phase 4 line. Make my arrow at the end. Next FSEM is NFA 1 and NFA 2. And those are active for the entirety of the operation as well. Below that we have CFL silver and on order CFL gold. So for CFL silver, okay, you can word it just like they have here, right? Can you zoom in for a second for me? All right, you're good there. Okay, so if you see CFL silver is listed, on order CFL gold, and then CFL gold runs for the rest of the operation. That is one way to write it. We can also break it down for CFL silver, draw a line just to the end of phase 1. Below that, on order CFL gold, and then run CFL gold to the end of the operation. Okay, so for this, I'm going to record it exactly as it is on the FSEM, but there is more than one way to write this. Once I have them recorded in the phase 1 block, I'm going to move to phase 2 and record CFL gold, and then run that line to the end of the operation in phase 4. Okay, CFL gold is done. Now I have my 2 RFLs. So I have RFL north. That is going to be active for the entirety of this operation. RFL south. That again is for the entirety of the operation. And at this point, that will then conclude our battalion FSCMs. Now we read in the order in multiple places, I believe up to 3, that we know that we're going to have to plan NFAs over our observers. We have not decided where exactly our observers are going to go, but we want to put a placeholder here so we don't forget to include those, because then we would lose points in each one of the phases that they're not listed. So we know there are going to be 3 NFAs over our observers. Now they may not all run for the entirety of the operation. We may change some at certain times, and that's okay. I'm just going to put this as a placeholder, maybe put a little asterisk next to it, so that I know I have to come back and complete when these NFAs are active or inactive. Okay? Once you have this information, this concludes your FSEMs for from the battalion level. Now we're going to take a look at moving down from there to the battalion priority of fire. Refer back to your FSEM. At the top portion here, remember we highlighted it. All right, so Scouts has it during phase 1, Alpha has it during phase 2 and 3, and then Charlie has it during phase 4. Okay, don't take any trying to figure out why it is where the phases are for each one of these companies to have it. The battalion has decided that's what it is, and so that's what we're going to record on our FSCM. So in the battalion priority of fire, I'm going to record Scouts. I'm going to draw a line to the end of phase 1 because we know they're only the priority of fire during phase 1. In phase 2, we know that it is going to come to us, Alpha Co. And I know we have it during phase 2 and phase 3. And then finally, for the final phase, is Charlie Company. So I'm going to record Charlie Co. with a line to the end of phase 4, right? Notice that this is the battalion priority of fire, not the company. We'll get into the company once we start to build the company products. But for now, that's as much as we can do. All right. Next on the line is our company mortars. Okay, we did have some information in the operations order in relation to the company mortars. So I'm going to look back for this specifically, this op order, and it may not always be in this location, but for this operation order it is. It'll either be listed on the FSEM if it is here, but in later operations orders, it's usually included inside of your commander's guidance. So for the mortars, we look down to the 60 millimeter mortars, and then we see that they're at mortar firing point 1 with the grid here. What we don't have, which must be included, is the azimuth of fire. Okay, so we haven't plotted it, we don't know what that looks like yet. So we're just gonna take this information for the company mortars, and during phase 1, they're located at mortar firing point 1 with the grid of November Delta 5950 3950, and we are waiting on the azimuth of fire. We don't have that yet, so we'll record that once we get there. Okay, you're probably gonna have to write smaller than I did to get it all in, and I'll probably have to erase this and adjust it once I have the azimuth of fire. Okay, so company mortars, we have nothing else that we can complete at this time. Down the line from there, we have our FSO and FIST. Now this is where you would record if you had some sort of target that you are responsible for as the FSO. For this operation and for the majority of Bullock, there is no FSO target that you're going to have to worry about. You could include some sort of, if you were allocated CAS during a phase of this operation, you could put something to illustrate that, but nothing is needed in the FSO FIST location. These boxes just below, okay, these are for your individual sections or platoons. In this case, we have platoons. So we have first PLT Alpha Company, second PLT Alpha Company, and finally third PL. I don't know why I just tried to draw an R. LT Alpha Company. All right, so for the FSEM itself, right, we've now have all of our FSEMs from the battalion priority of fire, the first location for company mortars. We've added in our platoons. The only other thing that we could possibly get right now from the operations order is who has the priority of fire, which will be annotated by phase in these boxes. So we need to find our commander's guidance. Inside of Alpha's commander's guidance, the last sentence here says, our main effort during this operation will be 3rd platoon during phase 1, and then 2nd platoon for the rest of the operation. So in these boxes, we know 3rd platoon has priority of fire. So I want to write this small because we also have to record targets in here later. So I'm going to record company priority of fire, and we know they only have it during phase 1, so I'm going to draw my line to the end of phase 1, and then 2nd platoon has it for the rest of the operation. So again, small, I'm going to record company priority of fire, and then I'm going to draw my line to the end of the operation, which is phase 4. So for the document we have here, we have completed everything that we can possibly complete from the battalion op order before we get into planning the targets that the company is responsible for, and then ultimately, last step, recording all of that target information on the bottom of the FSCM. So at the top of this, before we even get there, so I don't forget, I'm going to record by phase, by trigger. And in a later video, we'll build the company products targets and add in the battalion targets, and then build those by phase and by trigger. We're going to take a break here. Next video will show you how to transfer everything from the battalion onto the company overlay.